Hi guys, Mark DeVoe. Welcome back to this channel, A Conscious Time, and welcome to this video, which I haven't confirmed as I'm speaking right now, but I'm going to do something along the lines of, have you done anything wrong, or what narratives are running your life? So we'll see. By the time I finish this, you'll obviously have the title when you see this video. Anyway, let's jump into it. But before I carry on, this for those that are new, this channel is all about navigating this world through the eyes of awareness. So it's non-judgment, dropping guilt, dropping doubt. Those will be pivotal changes in your life. You can corroborate the things that I say with all various studies and well, the most important thing is experience. Actually, you can corroborate these things by taking what I say. Does it resonate with you? Going out and actually seeing, using these as the cause and seeing the effect. And that's what I've done in my life. I've literally seen life-changing results from dropping doubt, dropping judgment, dropping guilt, and having a bird's eye view on how we're navigating this life through with the best that we can with what we have been given. All right, so let's just jump into this. I want to keep this quite short and sweet, as I do like to do most of the time. So this was based from inspiration in my life, and I wish to share that and give me your thoughts and sharings and understanding, and hopefully by the end of this video you can just walk away and have applications to change your life for the better, which is going to be success, harmony, peace, etc. Okay, so let's jump into it. So if you ever caught yourself or catch yourself thinking that you should have done something either better, shouldn't have said something, should have said something, should have learned something, known better, whatever the case may be, and this is what is running our lives, our narratives all the time. So if you're not aware of the narratives that are running you, your programs that are running you, then you are not going to be aware of the world that you have created. You think you're going to be subject to the world, as opposed to knowing that you are the creative power. As I always mention in many of my videos, Neville Goddard, you're perfectly expressing yourself either consciously or unconsciously. That is the power that you have. When you become aware, now you can really start seeing you being the cause. Obviously God is the cause, you are the created, the cause as well, and you can then also see the effect. Without that awareness of the narratives, the thoughts that are running through your head, you will not see you as being the creative power. You will think you are subject to the world, and if something happens that is not aligned with you or right or wrong, you will blame the outside world. All right, so and this is going to be different for everyone in terms of the nuances and, ethnicity, culturally, your background, where you've come from, how you've been brought up. But ultimately, the underlying cause is fear, and fear is from the ego, which I've mentioned in most of my other videos, so please check them out on the ego. The ego is, and I take my ego teachings from A Course in Miracles. It's the it's the illusory thought system. It's a separation from God. You are perfect with God, not being separate from God at all. So you're sitting with God right now, but the premise is, or the ego is the illusory thought system that you are separate from God, and it's death, demise, separation, guilt, shame, judgment. So that's the underlying. So no matter what your backdrop is, you don't have to go down a whole psychological route of understanding your past, understanding your background, understanding where you've come from. I'm not a psychologist, but I'm basing it on a spiritual outlook. So you don't have to waste, you can go and corroborate this for yourself, but you don't have to waste years of bringing up that past, just knowing that the ego is the false illusory thought system. It is not the true you, and it's based on fear. Okay, so if you know that, then we can go forward with that without guilt, without judgment, and dropping doubt. So again, we can analyze all these things, because all our negative narratives ultimately come from childhood traumas, which I've drawn from Gabor Mate. So check out some of his work on if you want to unpack that from childhood traumas, because most of us, apparently according to him, as far as I remember him saying, is everything is based, and all our negative attributes are from some sort of childhood trauma. So that's maybe a good insight or background, but at the end of the day, you don't have to start delving into my terrible past. Just know it's egoic. You are perfect with God already. So once you know that, we can go forward. Okay, so you've got to become aware of your thoughts firstly. If you're not aware of your thoughts, you're just being run by your thoughts. So for instance, a good example is between myself, my wife, and you can check with everyone in your family to verify this. Most people actually won't even realize. They might think life is so hunky-dory and happy, but the programs that are actually going behind, until you actually uncover, and I find this in my day-to-day living, when I speak to people and we start going a little bit deeper, you actually find out from people how they are run by so many negative patterns. And I can almost guarantee and know that most of us are doing this because we are run by the ego. Most of us are run by that ego, unless you have raised your level of awareness to a higher spiritual realm, Holy Spirit led ultimately, and knowing that you are perfect with God and share the same thought system with God, then you are run by the ego. And you can verify this because you can now, through this video, and while we're talking or listening to me, you can start thinking about those narratives, negative narratives. So for instance, myself, I know that in my work environment, I know that I've got a very good work ethic, and yet I will find myself getting caught in a negative thought system of, I should have done this, maybe I shouldn't have said that, maybe it's in a meeting, an internal meeting, or maybe it's dealing with a client, something doesn't go the way I thought it should have gone, or it's just my narrative, or an internal meeting's coming up and maybe I need to prepare for something and I think, I haven't prepared enough, or I haven't done enough work on that day, and I actually have to catch myself with that thought and realize, wait a second, I actually work very hard. I actually don't have a spot on me per se, because I'm doing the best I can. I literally can wake up and go, I'm doing the best that I can. Sure, we can look at ourselves and go, where can we better ourselves? But that has to be with dropping doubt and guilt, which I'll unpack why the reason for that is. But just the examples, look at your life. Is it in your relationship? Is it in the work environment? What narratives do you have running in your mind that are pulling you down constantly, thinking you should have said something better, not said something, learned something, past regrets? And once you unpack this, you'll start seeing how negative they are, and it's actually just nice to capture them and see them. Once you are aware of the pure state of awareness is enough to change that. You do not want to condemn that, which I'll jump into that. So for instance, going back to my thoughts process, and it has come from years of awareness how I've changed these things. I look back and I go and I look at all the things that have happened in the world, i.e. the pandemic that happened in the early 2020. I went to really worst case scenario, and I realized I've done that with many aspects of my life. It's almost like a preparation, or it's a negative, or it's a fear-based to go to that worst case scenario. And you don't actually have to go to it's, maybe it's in that preparation, like I said. You don't have to go to that worst case scenario. So I ask myself, why do I go to that worst case scenario? It's good to prepare certain outcomes. But if it's fear-based, you've really got to analyze that and wonder why you are thinking like that. And now this goes hand in hand with manifesting or creating in your life. If you're not aware of the background programs, then your default is going to be in a negative, and you're going to start be creating those things until you become aware. But again, dropping judgment and dropping guilt. Okay, so for example, my wife is different. She has more caring attributes. So she cares for the family and all the pets and everything. She does an amazing job. But I find that she's actually quite hard on herself. That she should have done this, should have done that. Maybe it's our chicken that died, or and she takes such good care of our chickens, and yet she felt like she should have done more. Or with our son, she should have not said something or taught him something differently, or whatever the case may be. So hers is different, but she will agree that she's got these negative repetitive programs, and from her childhood as well. You can unpack your childhood until the cars come home, but there's no point in that. Just realize it's the ego, and the ego is looking for that drama. Okay, and our natural default, and you can give me your thoughts on this, but is condemnation, because it's based on the ego. For most of us, it's based on a condemnation. And it almost seems counterintuitive to not condemn yourself when you have done something wrong, or where you could have done something better. But the fact is, if you drop doubt and judgment, then, and through the eyes of awareness, know that you are doing everything in your the best you can based on how you've been brought up, the tools you've been given, and whatever the case may be, and the level of awareness, you're actually doing the best that you can. So you have to drop that doubt. If you don't drop doubt and judgment, your next step will be in guilt, doubt, judgment. And take it from me, I've experienced how I've operated in guilt and judgment, and I've dropped guilt and judgment, and it's chalk and cheese how I've flourished without guilt and judgment. And the opposite of guilt, judgment, and fear is obviously love, and love for one another, or love for yourself, and compassion. So being compassionate with yourself, and through that you will nurture yourself to being the best that you can. All right, so let's wrap this up. And okay, so action steps. Being aware of your thoughts. You can pray, meditate. You can do a meditation where you actually just sit and you watch your thoughts. Close your eyes and you watch your thoughts. And you see the random thoughts and the strange thoughts that pop up, and don't judge them. Just see them, because now you're becoming aware. As you meditate, so you will live your life, and vice versa. As you live your life, so you will meditate that same way. So through non-judgment, watch those thoughts. That's the awareness is the key. I've mentioned you are doing the best. Know that you are doing the best that you can, and give yourself a pat on the back as well. You are every day you are trying your best, aren't you? Every hour, every minute, reset, renew your mind. And then a level deeper, know that the ego, that thought system, the illusory thought system, separation from God, is very cunning. So it will always come in different ways. If you are feeling fear and guilt and doubt, it's the ego. And that's all you need to know. And a level deeper is then, if you're not thinking with the ego, then who are you thinking with? And that's where you have to realize you're thinking with God. Be spirit-led, and pray to God, pray to the Holy Spirit to think with that. Otherwise, you will be thinking with the ego and fear. So hopefully I've summed all this up. What narratives are running your life, or what wrong do you think you're doing in your life? Become aware of that, and hopefully this has added a lot of insight, awareness, value. If it has, like, share, subscribe, and give me your thoughts and learnings, and we'll check you on the next one.